In 1987, a blurry photograph from Ilkley, Moor shook England to its core. A retired policeman swore he'd captured an alien on film. Was this a calculated hoax, a trick of fog and shadow, or a glimpse into something beyond our world? This isn't your average UFO yarn. It's a tangle of eerie evidence, hypnotic visions, and questions that refuse to die, even decades later. What really unfolded on that desolate moor? Stay with me as we peel back the layers of a story that'll leave you wondering. How much of the unknown is still lurking out there, just beyond our reach? Imagine a frigid morning, December 1st, 1987. Ilkley Moor stretches out in Yorkshire, a vast, brooding wilderness where the wind howls through heather and ancient stones stand like silent sentinels. The air's thick with mist, the kind that swallows sound and blurs the edges of reality. Philip Spencer, a former policeman with a no-nonsense reputation, steps onto this haunting landscape. He's not a dreamer or a thrill-seeker, just a man with a camera slung over his shoulder and a compass in his pocket, heading to visit his mother-in-law in a nearby village. It's a walk he's done before, routine as breathing. But today, the moor has other plans. Could a place this ordinary really hide something so extraordinary? As Spencer climbs a muddy path, the fog wraps tighter around him, muffling even the crunch of his boots. The moor feels alive, watchful. Then, through the haze, he sees it. A figure barely 3 feet tall, standing motionless near a jagged outcrop. It's no hiker, no animal. Its skin glints greenish in the dim light, its head too large, its arms and legs spindly, almost fragile. Spencer freezes, his cop instincts clashing with disbelief. This isn't a suspect or a lost soul. It's something else entirely. The figure turns, locking eyes with him for a split second before darting away. And here's where it gets strange. Instead of backing off, Spencer chases it. Why would a man grounded in law and logic run toward the impossible? He scrambles after it, rounding a bend in the rocky terrain, camera banging against his chest. The creature's gone, swallowed by the mist, but the sky above hums with a low, metallic pulse. Spencer looks up, and there it is, a diamond-shaped craft, hovering silently maybe 50 feet off the ground. No engines, no wings, just a smooth, gleaming thing that shouldn't exist. It hovers for a heartbeat, then rockets upward with a speed that defies physics, vanishing into the clouds. Spencer's alone again, his compass needle spinning uselessly, his sense of time warped. Had minutes passed or hours? What had he just stumbled into? Instinct kicks in again. He raises his camera, aims where the figure disappeared, and snaps a single shot. A blurry silhouette against the moor's grim backdrop. That photo, that fleeting moment, would soon ignite a firestorm of wonder and doubt. Was it a hallucination born of fog and fatigue? A prank he somehow missed? Or had Spencer crossed a line into something humanity wasn't ready to face? As the mist settled back over Ilkley Moor, it carried a secret that's haunted us ever since. But the real jolt came when that photograph hit the light of day. It's grainy, sure. A dark, humanoid shape standing alone on the hillside, captured on Spencer's Kodak film. No crisp details, just enough to tease the imagination. He took it to a developer, then to UFO investigators, and before long it was everywhere. British tabloids screamed headlines, "Aliens snapped in Yorkshire." The image landed in the hands of experts like Bruce Maccabee, a physicist and photo analyst with a knack for UFO cases. He pored over it, checked the negatives, the lighting, the shadows. Kodak weighed in too, confirming the film hadn't been doctored. No double exposures, no darkroom sleight of hand. The shadows aligned with the sun's position that morning. The blur matched a shaky hand, not a fake overlay. Maccabee couldn't call it a slam dunk, but he couldn't debunk it either. So what was it? Believers saw a historic breakthrough, proof of visitors caught mid-step. Skeptics fired back. A hiker in a funny hat, a rock misjudged in the gloom, even a scarecrow blown off a farm. But those explanations stumble when you dig deeper. A hiker doesn't vanish into a UFO. A rock doesn't sprint away. And scarecrows? None were reported nearby. The photo gripped England's imagination. splitting pub debates and dinner tables. Was this the real deal, or a riddle wrapped in bad focus? Digging further, Spencer's story didn't stop at the snapshot. He couldn't shake that day, the gaps in his memory, the nagging sense that more happened than he could recall. UFO researchers, sensing a bigger tale, suggested hypnosis. Spencer agreed, lying back as a trained hypnotist guided him into the murk of his own mind. What emerged was straight out of a sci-fi nightmare. He described being yanked into that diamond craft, surrounded by beings. Tall now, not small, with huge black eyes and voices like cold machinery. They didn't speak. They projected thoughts. They sat him down, showed him films flickering on walls. Scenes of Earth burning, oceans boiling, cities crumbling to dust. Warnings, he said, about humanity's path. Then came the probe's lights scanning his body, a feeling of being weighed, measured, catalogued. Time stretched, then snapped. Next thing he knew, he was back on the moor, dazed, with a chunk of the morning gone. Was this an abduction, textbook, and terrifying? The details were vivid, almost too perfect. Yet hypnosis is a shaky bridge. Could the hypnotist have planted ideas, nudging Spencer's fear into a full-blown tale? Skeptics pounced. Memories malleable, especially under suggestion. But Spencer swore it was an invention. The compass glitch, the lost time, those were facts, not feelings. And those apocalyptic films, what kind of mind conjures that unprompted? Can we trust these buried fragments? Or do they twist an already wild story into something stranger still? Theories piled up fast, each one tugging the mystery in a new direction. Was Spencer a master hoaxer, rigging a dummy and a camera for kicks? The Moor's loneliness makes it tempting. No crowds to call his bluff. But he wasn't a showman. He shunned the spotlight, sticking to his quiet life. Maybe it's simpler. A hiker in a weird coat, misread through fog, the UFO just exhaustion playing tricks. Yet that photo nags, its shape, its context. Then there's the military angle. Ilkley Moor's a stone's throw from RAF men with Hill, a sprawling base tied to Cold War secrets and rumors of experimental craft. Could Spencer have seen a prototype mistaken for alien tech? The timing fits. 87 was peak spy game tension. But a craft that silent, that fast? Even today's drones don't match it. Or do they? The Moor itself adds fuel. Locals whisper of lights dancing in the sky, figures glimpsed in storms, tales stretching back centuries. Is it a hotspot for the weird, or just a canvas for our fears? Which theory holds water for you? A lie? A mix-up? Or something crossing the stars? Fast forward to now, and the Ilkley Moor case still won't let go. Nick Pope, who chased UFOs for the UK Ministry of Defence, ranked it among the most compelling he'd studied. Credible witness, tangible evidence, no easy outs. That photos faded but not forgotten. Framed in books, dissected online. A cornerstone of UFO lore. Spencer's story dovetails with today's buzz. Governments cracking open files, pilots swearing they've seen the impossible. Was he a pioneer, catching what we're only now brave enough to face? The Moor stays silent, its secrets locked in peat and stone. But the pull endures, partly because it's unresolved, partly because it mirrors our own hunger for answers. What do you see in that blurry frame? A visitor, a phantom, or a question mark? This isn't about nailing the truth. It's about why we keep looking. So, where do you land? Share your theory below. Was Spencer alone that day, or did something else walk the moor? If these shadows hook you, hit subscribe. We've got more mysteries to unravel. Pass this to anyone who thrives on the unexplained, and let's keep asking. Is the truth still out there, staring back from the mist?